Okay, good morning, everybody, and thank you for taking the time to join our webinar today. My name is Brian Boscher, and I'm the president of Condo Control. And I'm joined by my colleague, Greg Vieira, who is our customer success team lead. And together, we're going to be presenting today's webinar on our online payment processing options, Stripe and Rotessa. Before we begin with the webinar, I'd like to refresh you all on how to get help. This is our office hours. We're here Monday to Friday. You have our technical support or access related issues. You can contact the support team, contact at Condo Control Central. And if you have a more strategic question about how to use your account, how to get the most out of CCC, or a feature you want to inquire about or get more information on, you can talk to your dedicated customer success team. We have Greg, Christine, Andrea, who is on vacation, and Gerard, who has just joined us recently. They can be reached at customer success at Condo Control Central. So just a comment on, before we start, on the webinar series that we're running currently. So this is the third out of 5 webinars, and I'll just send you a link right now through the chat. You're going to be able to go on our website and see links to the recordings of the previous webinars if you couldn't catch them, as well as registration pages for the upcoming amenity and year-end review webinars that we have scheduled for late November and early December. So for today's agenda, we're going to go over Rotessa and what it is. We're going to go over Stripe and that offering. Then we're going to go through which features are supported on which platforms. There's certain restrictions and limitations with pre-authorized debits. So there's some limitations you should be aware of. And then we're going to talk about costs, because this is always a topic of interest for everybody, because payment processing is not free. There's always a cost associated with getting stuff done. And then we're going to go through some screenshots that'll walk you through the resident experience, because in our experience, that's what managers seem to care about most, is how is this going to look to the owners and residents when they use the system. So with that, I am going to introduce Greg. Greg Vieira is our customer success manager. He's been with CCC for, I want to say, 6 years now. And so he's going to be walking you through today's webinar. Greg, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Brian. Yes, you're on point. I just started my 6th year anniversary with Condo Control, so I'm excited to do another webinar on Rotessa and Stripe. So we'll jump right into it. So what's an overview of Rotessa? So Rotessa is an online payment processing company that handles pre-authorized bank payments. It's important to note that it is a Canadian company, and we have partnered with them this year. Residents can easily pay their monthly fees. They can easily pay their chargebacks. They can easily pay any sort of fines that the corporation are willing to set up in the system, and have that ability and flexibility for the residents to pay through the pre-authorized debit option that Rotessa has. Because we're also a Canadian company, we really enjoy working with Canadian partners. So this is a great opportunity that Rotessa has given us for us to partner with them. The next screen you have is the Stripe overview. So Stripe is a very simple credit card processing system that is started in the US back in 2011. So the integration that we did with them was back in around mid-2016, where we have had very successful outcome for all those corporations that have signed up to use the credit card feature within the Stripe itself. So early 2016, it was very slow in getting corporations to sign up for the benefit of the credit card flexibility. And from mid-2016 to present, we have over 600 plus corporations that are currently using Stripe as their online payment processing for credit card transaction. And within a period of 4 years, this integrations that we have with Stripe has generated over 6.3 million on credit card transactions. So that's a lump sum of collection based on all the transactions within this service. Doesn't mean that Condo Control benefited from 6.3 million, which will be really nice. But it just gives you, shows like broader.
That's the volume of what has gone through. So that's the total of bookings and everything that people have charged through the system. So it's been well tested by now.
And then we're always looking to improve it. So we have some exciting features to share with you at the end of this webinar, which has some sort of integration with Stripe as well. Next screen I have is which features are supported. So we fairly get asked this question because Rotessa just came on board this year. So with Stripe, you get the benefit to use it across our amenity booking feature, or online payment feature, or store feature, where you get to sell your items such as fob, garage remote, filters, keys, and last but not least, our status certificate feature that we offer to property management company. And on the Rotessa side, because of the limitations of pre-authorized debit, it's only available on our online payment, which has the ability to do one-time payments as well as recurring payments. So owners that would like to pay for their monthly maintenance fees on a monthly basis, they have the ability to set the Rotessa on a monthly recurring basis. Some users may want to do a one-time payment where it's related to chargebacks or any sort of outstanding amounts that the corporation needs to collect. You can also do that within the online payment feature with Rotessa as well as with Stripe.
So before we move on here, I think one of the really important reasons we've set it up this way is that at the current time, Rotessa does not support automated refunds. The refund process, if you book an amenity, you pay with Stripe. If someone cancels, they change their mind, they want to refund it, that can all be done automatically. And that, we've heard from our clients, is a huge time saver. So on the Rotessa side, because that's not available, we have not offered yet Rotessa for amenity booking. Once they provide the ability to do refunds, then we're going to be able to expand Rotessa to support some of the other capabilities on Condo Control Central.
So my next screen is the cost. So there's two. So I'll walk you through the Stripe cost. So there's no cost for the corporation in setting Stripe. There's a Stripe charge, which is 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction, as well as a CCC charge of $2 per booking. So those charges, which is 99.9% requested, is within the resident end. So when the residents are booking or using the credit card feature, those are the additional charges that the residents will be paying. We do have the flexibility to have the corporation to absorb those costs, but it's very rare that a corporation will be taking those. If they do, they would have to change some sort of their fees that they currently have for their amenities and store items and such. And then the other part is the Rotessa costs. Again, there's no cost for setting this up for the corporation end. There's a $2 flat fee per transaction, rather than a percentage fee as you would see on a Stripe credit card transaction. And there's also, in event of any sort of return payments due to insufficient funds, Rotessa would have a charge fee of $29 to the corporation because there was a bounce within that amount that was supposed to be taken away from the resident pre-authorized debit setup. So in the next set of slides, I'll be showing you the resident point of view on some of the features that we described on the previous slides. So we'll cover, the first one will be the amenities. So this is a resident view from a resident in one of my sites. So they will go to this page and then they'll select which bookings that they want to choose to go through. And in this case, I selected the guest suite number 1. The next screen, it gives you terms and conditions and images. And on the right-hand side, you see some sort of pricing and depositing structure for the amenity example. So this is all set up behind the scenes so that it gives you your audience clear expectations on the pricing and deposit structure. So what they're booking, they have a very clear understanding before proceeding to the next page. In this case, I chose one night for my guest suite. So I click book now. And then the next screen, it asks them to confirm. That's exactly what I'm looking to book for one night of the guest suite. I get to this page where I'm reading the terms and conditions within the agreement to this guest suite, and I get to sign the agreement that I have read the above. And the next phase is it shows me a review and confirm page where you can see here on the screen as red, the amenity usage fee for my guest suite is $250 for one night, a security deposit of $500, a booking service fee of $2, 13% tax on that $2, which is 26 cents, and there's a Stripe fee of $7.84, total charges of 260.10 cents. The net amount, which is 250, that is the revenue that the corporation will be making on this example. And then the additional charges are clear enough on the screen that your residents would have an understanding of the breakdown. So it's important to them that they understand that, so they don't call management and say, you know, why you're charging 260 when you're advertising your amenity to be 250. And the last screen is a pop-up that comes from Stripe. So this is where the residents will put in their credit card along with their month of expiration as well as their CVC. The next feature I have is the online payment feature in Condo Control. So in this example, I'll show you the Rotessa and Stripe option flexibility from the resident point of view. When the residents log into their account and they have either Stripe or Rotessa set up, in this example, my building had both setups. So I have 4 options as a resident to choose from. I can choose the card, which is make a payment, and I'll walk you through on the next screen. I have the ability to see the receipts, which will show me all my receipts based on all my transactions on the online payment features. I can manage my payments, meaning that it'll give me a dashboard of all the payments that I have, whether it's recurring or one time. And where it says manage cards, those are the cards that it's set up through the recurring option for Stripe if you have some sort of recurring as a resident in the online payment feature. So this is the payment details. So in this example, you see I want to pay for. In my example, I have chargeback. You can have as many options on the drop-down menu as you want. You can have chargeback, you have maintenance fees, fines, anything that you want to have available, you can add in there. And then you can have the ability to enter the reference/invoice number if you have provided that to the resident. And in my example, I have a feature that's called empty amount field, where it gives the flexibility for your residents to enter whatever amount they want to pay for the corporation. Another example we have, you can set a fixed amount of dollar. So if I put 250 behind the scenes, when the residents are going to that feature, they will see 250. They can't change that amount, but you can put an empty box so that the resident can enter whatever amount that they owe to the corporation. And my type of payment is a one-time payment. So you can do one-time, recurring, or both. So if you do both, you give the ability for your resident to choose either a one-time or recurring. In this example, I'm doing a one-time payment. And the method of payment, if I only had credit cards set up, you wouldn't see the EFT transfer option, which is the Rotessa. In this case, I have both of them set up in my workspace. So you have the flexibility for your residents to pick whether they want to use credit card or whether they want to use the EFT transfer, which is the pre-authorized debit funds. In this example, I select the EFT. And on the next screen, it gives me that I'm paying $450. There's a service fee plus tax, so I'm paying $452.26 on this transaction. I would review, and if I'm comfortable with that amount, I will go to the next page, which is where it will ask the bank account details for that pre-authorized debit that the residence is using. So I'm showing you an example for a CAD, which is a Canadian version of the bank account details. And my next screen, I have the USD, which looks a bit different. They have some extra fields available on the left-hand side to comply with those sort of funds. So my next example is the store feature. So this is a feature built in to set up your own sort of store items that you're currently selling in your condo, whether you are doing it right now that you have check option, whatever you're doing that you're collecting check, you can have those in the system. So this is some sort of example. I set up my building. I have a key, I have a fob, locker, 1 night pass, and 3 night pass. You can set as many items as you wish in the store. There's no limitation. So in this example, my unit account chose the keys and fob to add to cart. So once I add those to cart, you see a similar screen that looks like this. So this will give you what I have added to my cart. On the right-hand side, you have the price, the quantity, and the subtotal. And in the bottom, you have the checkout option. So once the residents hit the checkout button, they get to this page, which gives them, again, a very detailed description on how much the total of items plus the Stripe and Condo Control Central fee will look like. So this example, you have the subtotal, which is the $50, which is the net amount of $25 each item, service fee tax, and Stripe fees. So the residents in this case will be paying a total charges of $54.13. And once they click pay and save your order, you get the same screen as you seen on the amended booking. And that is pretty much for the webinar today. I don't like mentioning in the beginning, like the Rotessa side of it, it only covers the online payment because we're still working on improving that online payment to be available for the store items, so that you have the flexibility for your community to use those payments as well.
Thank you all for taking the time to join us. Really appreciate it. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and hope you'll join us again in 2 weeks. And we'll have our next webinar then. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.